Tony Lama has been a classic cowboy boot brand for more than a century, but what do their new cowboy boots look like compared to some of their older models? Today, I have the Tony Lama Stagall. This is a chocolate bull shoulder boot. We're gonna do a quick impression, and then at the end, I'm going to compare it to an older bull shoulder boot in this Tony Lama 6250. Let's get into it.
I'm just here to connect ya, and then I'll be on my way.
Hey everybody, my name is Jeremiah Craig. Welcome back to the channel. And I recently had a request to take a closer look at the Tony Lama Stagall boot, and got my hands on a pair thanks to Tony Lama. So we're gonna be doing a quick impression, including a rundown with this, and then kind of comparing it to an older Tony Lama, which is also a bull shoulder boot, except this one is more of a gray-black color. So what we're going to do is break down the details of this Stagall boot to begin the video, and that happens with the rundown. All right, this is the Tony Lama Stagall boot, style number TL3028, and it features a bull hide shoulder, foot, and counter. Gotta love bull hide. It's a super tough and very durable leather that makes it great for cowboy boots. The color here is a brown, and it features a medium round toe, which Tony Lama calls its R toe, among several other brands. So R toe and medium round toe is a very interchangeable term, meaning the exact same thing. It comes in at 13 inches tall and features espresso color cowhide tops, and it also has a little bit of bull shoulder up there as a pull tab overlay. Down here for a heel, we have about a 1.5 inch heel, and it appears to be a robust leather, aka a bonded leather, since it looks slightly different from the sole leather itself. Speaking of that outsole, it's a leather outsole down here, and you can see brass nails alongside that shank. This also features a Goodyear welt, and Tony Lama is going back to some of the traditional ways of making boots because this welt is actually channeled into the insole, which makes it a much more longer lasting build and also easily repaired by cobblers. So gotta love the channel insole in here that they're marketing. On the inside, we got a cowhide leather lining all the way through, both the foot and the top. And for a insole, we have Tony Lama's Cushion Comfort Foam and Gel removable insole. So it's got a little bit of fabric on the top, foam, and a little bit of gel at the heel. Then under that, we have a hard leather footbed, which is super traditional. And on one of these, the heel pad is a little askew, but I would still recommend that you probably wear this boot with the insole inside because you can feel some of those brass nails poke through the insole here, and that's going to tear your socks up and maybe scratch your foot a little bit. So definitely wear these boots with the insole, and that's one of the things that I wish they did a little bit differently here. I wish they used lemon wood pegs instead of brass nails alongside the shank, because that allows you to put the peg all the way through the boot and then kind of sand it down on the inside so that you're not getting things poking your foot. These boots are made in Mexico, and they're coming in at around $208 at the time of this recording. Now let's try on this boot to see how it looks and feels. All right, I got on those Tony Lama Stagalls on right now, and they feel pretty good, you know? For a boot with an insole in it that's not my true size, because this doesn't come in a B width, it only comes in D and double E maybe. So I would have to say that it is very comparable to other 11Ds that I've tried. So pretty much true to size. The leather here is the shoulder. And it is pretty supple, but it's also really thick. So it's not as supple as like an ostrich or a calfskin or something like that. So it will take a little bit of time to break in. So it still does have some softness and some suppleness to it that definitely makes it different from other brands out there at the $200 level. So it feels nice, it looks nice. Let me pull over the jeans so you can see what they look like just wearing normal. For the jeans, I got the boot cut from Devil Dog Dungarees on right now, and I've been really enjoying wearing this brand. I also have a 20% off link down in the description. So if you're interested in checking out Devil Dog Dungarees, use that link below and a 20% off is automatically added to your cart. So you're shopping around, whatever is added to your cart, 20% off when you get there. It's the way to go. Link in the description if you're interested in checking out Devil Dog Dungarees. I like how they look with these boots too. Looks really cool. And I wish they made B-widths. The insole is okay. It's not the best thing that I've ever felt. I would definitely prefer the hard leather surface if they were to make a B-width. Here is the POV. Love the look of the stitching. I like that they chose a brown stitching on that welt instead of like one of the bright white ones. And love the color and the grain of that bullhide shoulder. What do you guys think? All right, so I feel like Tony Lama is recapturing some of their glory days with this boot right here. And that's because they're doing the channeled welt again, which I love to see. A lot of companies will glue a cloth rib to the insole on the inside of the boot and then sew the welt to that. And that is definitely not as durable as if you were to cut a little channel into the insole and then sew the welt into the insole. It's way better, it's easier to be repaired, and it's much more longer lasting. So I love that. I like the fact that they went back to a hard leather insole on this boot and a beautiful medium round toe. With that said, this boot is definitely incorporating some cost savings methods in production, one of those being the brass nails alongside the shank here instead of lemon wood pegs, and that allowed for nails to come up through the insole, which basically makes this boot only be able to worn with the removable insole. And that's how it was built, so it's probably the best way to go about it, but still, I feel like Tony Lama could definitely recapture 100% of their glory days if they were able to use lemon wood pegs. Also, the heel is a robust leather. At least it appears to be a robust leather, which is also known as bonded leather. So what they do is they take scraps of leather and they basically glue it together to make a leather particle board, you know, similar to plywood or something like that. And then they stack that. And the problem with that is that if it gets too wet or you use it in some pretty serious working conditions, it could just tear off like cardboard. And that's what it looks like when this comes off. I've seen it. It just looks like paper, basically. And that is pretty difficult to repair, could cost a little bit extra, and that doesn't happen with a real full leather like what they're using for the outsole here. So if they use the same outsole leather to build the heel, I would like that much, much better. The problem with going with lemon wood pegs and a full leather heel is that that's gonna bump up the price and also bump up the amount of labor that it takes to produce a boot. So that's going to make this boot maybe $300 from a Mexican factory. So that's definitely a step up in a budget bracket. So they're definitely trying to market to a specific budget bracket with this boot. And at the $200 level, it's a decent boot. Like, I would have to put this on par with many Tecovas boots, and Tecovas doesn't do a channel welt, and they definitely don't have a hard leather insole. So, you know, they're getting there. And if you were trying to save some money, this is basically the same as the Tecovas, just a few things switched around in order to save some money here. So I think it's pretty good. I would love it if Tony Lama went back to their glory days 100%. This is a Tony Lama 6250, very similar boot with the bullhide shoulder. And this boot has lemon wood pegs. You can actually see some of them coming out because it's so old and I wear it so much. So these have got lemon wood pegs in there. Also some brass nails, but they're on the outside. Also, this has a hard leather insole, and there's no need for a removable insole because they did the widths properly back then. So this boot only comes in a D, maybe double E. And back when Tony Lama made this boot, they were doing everything from A's to E's. So this is a B width, and there's no reason for a removable insole when you have your correct width. It really doesn't matter. You get all the support. You don't need cushion. You don't need to fill out that space. The reason why they do removable insoles is to form to somebody's foot who might not fit into this boot. It's kind of a way to cheat and save money. But back in the day, they were doing the widths, and your proper width makes all the difference in a cowboy boot. I'd like to see them go back to this kind of stuff eventually, but I don't think they will, just because they're owned by one of the biggest corporations in America, Berkshire Hathaway. So they're gonna do whatever they can to, cut corners and make a good enough boot. And that's what this is, I can't hate on it. It's a good enough boot, but it's gonna lack in some areas, and of course that's gonna happen at the $200 level. But I wanna know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to subscribe. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Oh Tony, I'm mixed up by what you show me. Some pieces made like days of old, other pieces made hasty, and it's making me crazy. Oh Tony, why don't you come home? Thanks so much for watching today. Why don't you check out this other Tony Lama video up here? Or I got a music video down here I think you might enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe up here, and I will see you next time. Peace. Have a good one.